your Wildfall details. I'm so excited that you are going to join us today. This is your private weekly invite. That's the last email.
Okay, that's the one that you got. So I sent out another one that I'm still playing with, or not playing, but I am emailing from my regular account because I'm still learning how this auto email thing works. But I sent another one from my Crystal at crystalmatthews.com. Now that was the automatic generated one that goes out every Wednesday, I guess. But I sent another one. Will you check and see if it showed up in your promo folder? It should say, see you in an hour. Let me just go to my sent and just double check.
This one says wildfire starts in an hour.
Yeah, wildfire starts in an hour. So did you find it?
Yeah.
Where was it? Was it in promotions or?
It wasn't in promotions. It was just in my regular email. I don't know.
Oh, good. Okay. I just want to see if that went out. I'm still trying to figure out, like I've been putting those emails out myself, like manually, because I wasn't sure what was going on with the other emails yet. But yeah, there's been like 7 people who signed up for the 5-day challenge. So thank you for that idea of pushing me to do that, because that just kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I'll do a 5-day challenge. And then 7 people have signed up. So it's been a lot of work, and I was moving and I didn't realize how much work it was going to be when I committed to it. And so I'm literally like scrambling with the day of content, because I had the grand old idea to also add meditations to assist with all the stuff that comes up in the 5-day challenge. Since I can't, help everybody individually, the meditations kind of assist with recentering the icky stuff that might start to come up with the questions that we look at when it comes to money. But yeah, that is how my week's been going. How about you?
I'm just basically trying to complete this evaluation report of these 2 programs that I'm overseeing, after school programs. So just analyzing the data and putting it in a detailed report format, so that we can kind of know what we should do for the next year.
Yeah.
Now, in that email that you send out, there's 2 links, login links, one at the bottom and one at the top. Or is it
They're both the same.
both the same?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So the people who don't want to read the whole thing, I have a link at the top, and the people who do want to read it, they have a link at the bottom.
Okay, cool. I was just
like, it's kind of like the you know how in an essay we do an intro and a conclusion, and they're kind of the same thing.
right.
Yeah, that's how that was.
That's basically what I've been working on. In addition to that, trying to prepare for diversity, equity, inclusion division. And by that, I mean creating a division that focuses on those 3 areas and spearheading that division. So I've been working on a presentation on what that would look like. And then, hopefully I can get the green light and I can move forward with it.
Nice. Okay, so that's something that you're really passionate about, if you're going to spend a lot of time dedicated towards creating something like a proposal.
It's not only that I'm passionate about it, but it's something that is at the core of who I am. So it makes sense to do things that you do well, right? And that things that you have strong feelings and things that you're gonna, kind of go beyond the limit, beyond your limitations, and be ready to push past barriers that will come up.
Right. Okay. So how are you doing with balance in your life right now?
With balance, it's a work in progress, I would say. Balance for me is more so making time for myself, so that so I'm not stretching myself too thin with all of my involvements, right? So knowing how to spend time equally on projects, knowing how to spend time with myself, take self care is important as it relates to balance. Um, and so keeping that in mind, not everything's going to get done in one day, right?
Right.
Knowing how to step away and let things sit for a minute, right? And then go back to it. And sometimes you could even do a better job than you would have just sticking and doing it all in 1 or 2 days. Learning how to sit things down is extremely important because you can kind of set these sort of goals and expectations that may take some time, to accomplish.
It sounds like you're pretty spot on with your balance. So you've got your balance down pat, yeah?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been working. Like I said, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
These things don't come easy. You have to really be patient and embrace the process.
Yes. So that was one of okay, so I think I talked about this before in one of the other wildfire calls, that the book that changed my life was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Have you read it?
No.
Okay, I got my hands on it when I was like 14. I was like, what is this new way of thinking? There's like, I talked about that paradigm shift. But the last habit in the 7 habits was called Sharpen the Saw. And the sharpening the saw was all about the self-care, about balance, about knowing when to step away and to prioritize that, right? Like putting ourselves first above everything else, because then it just kind of trickles down into all areas of our life. So I've really come to put that, like putting me, my health, my fitness, my spirituality, like all of those things are kind of like the highest when it comes to my life values, because I know that those are like the center, the core of the things that I need to have in order for it to trickle into all the other areas of my life. So, which this week, because I crunched myself to pushed myself, stretched myself, definitely felt massive growth by committing to doing this in the time frame that I did. And it's amazing because I would not have been able to pull it off this fast if people did not show up to help me, like help me create the slides, help me create the emails. Like every single day I have to do 2 emails for each day, a recap, and then introduce, and then sending them a reminder with the links. So every day there's 2 emails that go out for this challenge. In addition to, I'm literally making meditations on my phone first thing in the morning to send it out after the call. So it's been like, and then last week was just like planning what the content was. And today is like creating the content that I'm going to deliver. It's been a lot. So, and then I moved also. So it's like, oh man, yeah, I did this. I stretched myself really thin. I'm pushing myself. I usually want to have more time for self-care. This week it's kind of going on the back burner a little bit. But I squeeze in like little walks here and there when I can to clear my head, to walk away. Like you were saying, sometimes forcing yourself to do it is less effective than just spreading it out over a long period, or a couple of days. And yeah, sometimes for me, balance when I'm crunching like this, and I know that there's gonna be people who are listening to this that are thinking about, oh, how do I handle when life gets crazy, when you're under pressure and you're just like, there's nothing you can do, you just have to perform. Sometimes it just takes walking away for 5 minutes getting some sunlight, some fresh air, or whatever, giving yourself that 5 minutes, or if you can do it, like a 20-minute. I used to do 20-minute power naps when I used to go to college full time, work full time, and I had like 2 jobs and college at some point. And from one job to the next, I would be going from one job to the next job, and I would go to the parking lot and take a 20-minute power nap. And that was how I was able to rejuvenate and deliver the energy that I needed to give. And I find myself doing that more this week, tapping into that skill set of like, okay, when you're under pressure, how do you still find the balance? How do you create the balance? And this isn't, I think there's some people who live like this for a long period of time. Like I know I did in college, where it was like, oh man, where's the balance? It's just like constant work, 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 work so hard. And that never lasts, right? Like there's always that crash and burn where like, I can't do it anymore. And that's where like after this, it's going to be like, okay, the next time I put out this challenge, I'm going to be more balanced because, well, one, I did all the hard work. Now I get to just fine tune it moving forward. But yeah, that's been how I've been able to cope with creating balance in the middle of chaos, what feels like it could be a bit of chaos, and still be able to meet all my goals and my deadlines.
And that's really good. That is really good. And just to add to that, I guess in order to kind of have sustainable balance, is to understand that there are going to be challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges will arise, and challenges and conflict I believe, are good.
Yes.
I think you need to have conflict and challenges in your life to, be able to elevate that balance.
Right. Well, and also like when we're under pressure like this, like I was saying, I felt that extreme amount of growth that by stretching myself to do this, and also my first time doing it. So there was a lot of like anxiety buildup. So this is also, this talk, it's about balance, but it's also about like when we get out of our comfort zone. Because I just did something I had never done before, was put on this 5-day challenge and host it and create it. And so there was a little, I had to struggle with those feelings of like some anxiety, some, the perfectionist comes in, and then it gets to the point where you're like, okay, you can't be perfect right now. You just have to deliver and, shoot from the hip in some places. And, there wasn't a lot of time to prepare and try to be perfect. And I don't think you ever can be perfect sometimes, but mostly like, okay, when we're under pressure like this is our opportunity to grow and stretch. But it's also like, I guess the point, what I was trying to get at is that after that first day, all that anxiety, all that stuff that I felt before delivering the first day went away, because it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like it was an awesome 90-minute session. There was engagement. Everything just flowed out of me. I didn't have to worry because I know what I'm talking about, right? So like, it's just going to come out however it comes out, whether I planned it enough or not. Like, it's already in here. So that was a huge breakthrough for me personally, to just get out of my comfort zone and recognize like, hey, you already know. So yeah, I think that's a get out of your comfort zone, creating balance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's pretty much balance today. It's just me and you today. Thank you for showing up, by the way, or else I was like working on stuff and I'm like, I'm just going to stay here and wait until if somebody wants to pop in. So I'm going to kind of switch it up since it's just you. Is there anything coming up for you, Isaac? that you want some advice on or want to talk about in your personal life?
Mm, I would say, um, I guess the main thing, and I guess it's tied to balance, is just patience. There's times where I feel myself getting anxious and wanting things to happen quicker than they're supposed to happen, right? And so I'm at that point right now where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this to happen. I'm ready for this next shift, right? Because I'm doing the work, I'm
That
putting
shift.
in the time, um, I'm doing everything that I feel like I should be doing. And it's not, you know, coming through, but I have to remind myself that it's not about when I want it to happen. It's about when it's going to happen. So I'm realizing, like, just to chill. It's already happening, and just because it's not happening at this moment does not mean it won't happen in the near
Yes,
future. So um, being mindful of that and not rushing that process for that breakthrough or for that work to come into fruition. So that's where I'm at, and just and so patience. I guess that's the thing that I'm wrapping my head around, is just
struggling with
being.
is the patience.
Mhm.
Well, okay, so I got a couple things that I can give you. Um, Whenever I feel anxiety, how I cope, one of my coping mechanisms is thinking about the successful outcome of whatever it is. So anytime a little bit of anxiety would come up for me, like just on Sunday or Monday, I would stop and I would envision what the outcome I want to happen, it would happen. And
Mhm.
that would like help ease the anxiety and make it go away, because it would get me back into a place of like confidence, of just knowing that everything's going to work out perfectly just the way it should, and that everything that's happening for us is perfect just the way that it is. So that can also help with the patience too, of things not showing up. Like you said, you're so right. In fact, I talk about this in the challenge about our job is the what and the why. What do you want? Why do you want it? That's what we need to know. What we don't need to know, like it's good to have a goal, a timetable, and to a specific, because it gives you something to shoot for, but we can't be attached to that and allow ourselves disappointment that it didn't happen yet. Because how many times have we hit a goal and it showed up sooner for us than we wanted? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I said I wanted it by the end of the year, but it showed up for me, within 6 months. Or how many times, like you were saying, you wanted the goal at this time, but it didn't happen yet. But it did happen maybe 6 months later. But if you don't, as long as you don't lose hope and focus on that goal, the what and the why, it will still come to pass, right? So like everything will come into play. The universe will bring in what you need for it to pass. So yeah, I love that you brought that up, because we're actually that's something that we were talking about today. And the tools for, I mean, well, there's the anxiety and just constantly staying in faith. And I think the most important part that I've come to realize is that as long as you're enjoying the journey, like you're okay with where you're at right now, right here, right now, grateful for everything that you have, then
Mhm.
it's okay whenever it shows up, right? Because I'm just going to be in this moment, right here, right now, and focus on this and be okay with this, because it's what I do know. If we're anxious, we're worried about the future. We're thinking about the future. We're living in the future that hasn't happened yet. If we're feeling sad, depressed, it usually has something to do with reflecting on the past and you're living there. So, anybody who's dealing with depression right now that may be listening to this, it's because you think about the past a lot, and the past is done and over with. You don't live there anymore. Anybody struggling with anxiety, you're thinking about and worrying about the future, just envision the successful outcome of whatever it is that you think you're worried about, And if we just center and focus on right here, right now, like right here, right now, Isaac, thank you so much for showing up today, that I was not by myself. Um, and I have something to release. And for the people who can't make it to this call on Wednesdays, now they have something to refer to and can still grab some value from this call. So I'm just like, that's what I try to do anytime I go that way or that way. We're not perfect. I reflect. And I've gotten better. I've gotten really good actually at not dipping into like the sad feelings of the past. Or like I said, anytime I start to feel that anxiety for the future, I have this exercise of just envisioning the successful outcome. And that's how I come back to now and just focusing on all the things that I love about right here, right now, like moving into my new place. So yeah, that's how I deal with that. Did any of that hit anything for you?
Yeah, I think all of it hit, you know, um, envisioning and imagining the outcomes of your labor, and the time that you're putting in is an excellent principle to stand on and to kind of, balance those feelings that, sort of, feelings of, you know, I guess anxiety or anxious, just think of the bigger picture, right? And then doing that, um, you will get through those sort of thoughts or feelings of uncertainty.
So what's your bigger picture, if you don't mind me asking?
In terms of what I'm trying to do right now, or in terms of just,
Either or, whatever you want to share.
so the the project that I'm working on, the bigger picture would be developing and spearheading a division that creates a lifelong impact within the community and within the library, and being a part of that sort of impact and pushing it, being the force behind it, and
What
getting.
impact do you want to create with this?
So the impact would focus on diversity, focusing on diversifying staff, diversifying the collection, diversifying policies and procedures, um, and equity, making things equitable for all people from all different backgrounds, and being, inclusive about how we move and what we believe in and how we operate, right? And so tying that all together would be the bigger picture for me, and being a part of that um, building of making that possible, right?
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's beautiful. I like it. Do you have other people helping you with this project?
At
Or
the
is it
moment, at the moment, I don't, but um, I'm just, constructing at this point and getting individuals on board, and then keep, you know, holding up the banner so that it is, it rings home for not just one or two individuals, but the entire organization.
okay? So do you mind if I coach you a little bit?
Go ahead.
Okay. What are the benefits and results that you hope to get from this program? I know you said diversion and inclusion and all of that and equity, but what are the tangible results from having those things?
Tangible results.
What are the
Um,
results? Like what's going to change because of diversity, inclusiveness, and equity? Um, Implementing that into.
the reputation of the organization, um, uh, being able to draw more people in, being able to utilize resources more, making allowing people to feel like they belong more, not only just within the staff, but also within the community, that they belong at this public institution.
Because this is going to help you when you present your project or your proposal.
Presentation, yeah.
Yeah, when you do the proposal, that what they're basically going to look at is like, what are going to be the benefits and results? Why do we want to listen to this? Why do we want this? Why do we care? What are going to be our tangible? So every time we do a proposal, the first thing we got to think about is what is the tangible results that we can show them that this is going to give them. And is that what your audience wants? So who is your audience? The higher ups, and does that fit into their values and what they want? So I heard some stuff about marketing, like, hey, it's going to fix our reputation. It's going to bring in more customers. It's going to create I want to say, you wanted to say something like a harmonious environment.
Performance, increased performance.
Increased performance, yes. So increased performance. And so those are all yeah, I love that. So if you focus on like increasing the performance, and more people will come because of this. And then one more.
So we have performance, we had creating a more inclusive community so that people feel like they belong not only just within the institution as staff members, but also community, folks who live in the community feel like they belong just as equally as if they work there.
And that's actually the tangible result from having them feel like they belong, is that more people will come.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So we got more people will come. That's marketing, the environment, the higher performance in the workplace. More people will come, and then can you think of one more?
It would increase our donors and grants because
I love that. Because of the popularity. So increase funding, increase funding. So if you just label it and like make it really short and simple, right? So the first one's going to be, this is going to increase funding, and then you'll explain why this increases funding. This is going to create higher performance, and then you'll explain why it creates higher performance. And we're going to have more customers because blank, blank, blank. So those are the three things that's going to catch their attention right away and be like, okay, we have to listen to what he has to say, because those are all three things that we want. And then, so this is, I'm coaching you from actually what my marketing coach has taught me. He's always like, what's my three, he calls it the 3x3. The 3 benefits and results, that the pain points that your audience is experiencing, that it's going to catch their attention. All right. And then you also acknowledge 3 things that they hate, dislike, don't want. So what they don't want is, I don't like, this is like the pitch that's like, hey, I know maybe that's what's being experienced right now. Our sales are, we don't have a lot of people in the library. Our funding is low, and the work environment has something to be, left to be desired, or, I don't know if you want to emphasize that, maybe not. But I have the solution. I have a way that we can blank, blank, blank those 3 points. And then you get to go elaborate on that. Did that help?
Yes, that is actually very valuable, and I'm taking notes on that.
Wonderful. All right. Is there anything else that I could help you with today?
No, I think that hits, the main things that I was looking to explore.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, if you don't have anything else, we talked about business. We talked about balance today. I shared a little bit of my experience this week. We coached Isaac on his presentation. So we did a little bit of the marketing. We talked about anxiety for the future, depression from the past, living in the now, and allowing things to come as they are meant to come, and not losing faith or losing sight of that it's still going to show up for you. And we talked about benefits and results, plus the 3 things that people don't want when you're doing marketing. So we kind of went all over the place with today's call. Lots of good stuff though. So thank you, Isaac, for showing up today. And I will see you guys next week for the next episode of Wildfire. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.